and Matron going straight into game one of a best of seven series. We didn't think that we were ready yet. BattleNet having some technical difficulties, but it is gonna be Bong Bong versus Murder here on Shattered Temple.
Yeah, as Curtis said, we're going to have Bong Bong first up for Team Prime. It's going to be Prime against vVv this week on Wednesday Night StarCraft. So, one of the best Korean teams, one of the top teams in the world, taking on vVv. And we're going to start out here with Murder spawning as the Purple Terran in the south position on this Shattered Temple, and Bong Bong playing as Kirsch, spawning in the western position as the Red Zerg.
Yeah, so Zerg versus Terran here on Shadow Temple. It is going to be close air spawns, so Murder may try to do a little bit of a Banshee play, as Banshee play does work out rather well against a lot of Zerg openings. But recently, I've seen a lot of Zerg players really just dominate Terrans as of late because of just being able to handle that Hellion harass, being able to handle the Banshee harass as of late, and it really feels like Zerg has the Terrans number. So we'll see what Murder tries to go for. What do you think Murder will open up with?
Well, I think usually the Terrans on vVv like to open up with that Scouting Reaper to do a little bit of scouting and damage. I imagine that Bong Bong should be able to handle that. I've actually seen his play a few times in this matchup, ZBT, as he pulls back that Overlord at the last second to deny Murder the easy scouting information there. But I think Bong Bong will probably open Pool first. So we may see Reaper versus Pool first here, is what I imagine will be happening.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, we also have Murder opening up with a low ground Rax, and this is something I haven't seen Murder do before, but we are going to have Murder now come over with this SCV. He does spot the Overlord of Bong Bong, as Bong Bong now is going to be able to hide this Overlord along the north side and be able to see exactly how much gas Murder will be harvesting. Meanwhile, we already have Bong Bong currently getting up that hatchery over here at the natural expansion, so he is not going for pool first. He's actually going hatchery extractor pool, so we'll see what that does in the long-term portion of the game.
Yeah, I'm all sorts of wrong here as Murder opening up with two racks on the low ground, so his Marines aren't going to have to walk that little bit of distance down his ramp, and he's going to be able to get Marines right into the natural of Bong Bong. Bong Bong in that western position, getting up that hatchery first, so we'll see whether he's able to get up Zerglings and a defense up against these two racks. He has yet to scout it. He has not sent any drone over there, so he has no idea the build order. He has snuck that Overlord back into the base of Murder. He sees that there is no gas, and Murder does have his SCV across the way in Bong Bong's base, so he's going to see that the pool is a little bit late, that the hatchery did go down first, that the extractor's up on the way as well, and we'll see whether Murder's able to get down a bunker here to aid those Marines as they make their way across the field here.
Yeah, one Marine already on its way out. Two more Marines will quickly follow suit as this SCV needs to set up a bunker. Otherwise, those Marines are not going to really be able to deal that much damage. The Murder's Marine able to get off that one drone kill there, and it looks like he's just going to try to put a little bit of pressure, but Bong Bong going to respond by training up 6 Zerglings, and this one Marine will not be able to hold the line that well.
Yeah, it looks like Murder actually pulling back with that SCV, so choosing not to throw up a bunker there next to the hatchery. He probably could have gotten it up as the hatchery didn't pop. Creep had not yet spread. Now we have 6 Zerglings coming out. They're going to try to mic their way against the 3 Marines here of Murder. Just 5 Zerglings left, one of them picked off easily, and Murder's going to try to dance around that creep, force Bong Bong to get up a lot of Zerglings, and now we see 12 on the way. So a full 17 Zerglings along with speed about to finish for Bong Bong. We'll see whether he's able to take care of the Marines here from Murder and perhaps put on a little bit of counter pressure.
Yeah, I don't think Murder is really going to be able to push in that easily. We can see spawn larva already happening. Just trying to push Zerglings, even especially when they're on creep, is very, very difficult. You can see that Bong Bong is already trying to position Zerglings up on the high ground, Zerglings on the low ground for a possible flank. If those Marines try to overextend themselves, the Marines only want to try to shoot down the Queen, and that is it. I think to try to slow down the macro, but that creep is just going to be spreading too quickly. And as that Queen slowly spreads, those Marines are just going to get surrounded much, much more easily. As the Marines now finally trying to make a move, no, just playing a game of chicken back and forth.
Wow, a ton of Zerglings. 17 already, 12 on the way. Speed just finishing now, so Bong Bong is going to be able to apply a lot of pressure here. Murder, if you check his front door, has walled off completely with these barracks, but he does have 2 supply depots in this wall off. As we see Bong Bong moving out here, he's about to take the center and show how many Zerglings he does have. He's going to get a surround on these Marines, take them down very easily, and this is going to be all the Marines that Murder has. So Murder's going to have to try to get up a defense here. He's got no bunkers, just trying to place one up now, actually working on a third command center very quickly, and looks like the wall here for Murder might go down. 2 Marines here doing their best to hold this wall as the SCVs do their best to repair the supply depot. We've got no banelings on the way for Bong Bong either, so he's not going to be able to bust through that wall yet.
Yeah, so very nicely done by Murder. Murder looked like he was trying to put in a lot of Marine pressure, but it was more of a keep honest build. And Bong Bong now has the power drone. He is currently, he was behind just moments ago, now sitting at 30 drones compared to 23. The one saving grace for Murder is Murder does have 2 orbital commands nearing completion, a 3rd command center about to be done, as we should be calling in mules in just a moment, but we don't have any gas yet from Murder, as now Bong Bong looking to take down these destructible rocks over here at the 11 o'clock position, and perhaps another hatchery will go down. A 3rd base being placed down at the 8-minute mark is just about right.
Yeah, so Murder can do a little bit of economic cheese here, as he's going to have a 3rd orbital command, as you mentioned. And we didn't get much of an intro in here. I know both of us are excited about this matchup, but you have to talk a little bit about the fact that vVv Gaming is the huge underdog in this matchup. So Murder coming out with a little bit of cheese with the 2 racks, testing the waters there, seeing the pool first, and doesn't overcommit too much, and then going into economic cheese now, as we see the Zerglings of Bong Bong once again going to be testing this wall, seeing the double supply depot now. So there are no weak points on this wall besides the 1 supply depot by that ramp, but again, no banelings out quite yet. And we see Bong Bong just power droning like a maniac at this point, up to 46 harvesters, and now adding a macro hatch as well as taking that gold.
Yeah, so a macro hatch taking the gold, and the creep spread now starting, as we are going to be getting an orbital command over here on the bottom right-hand side, and this is a crazy, crazy macro game between these 2 players. We are already 9 minutes into this game, and we're already sitting on over 80 harvesters between the 2 of them, and I don't believe this orbital command has even trained 1 single SCV yet, so we are going to have a very large battle in just a moment. I don't see a factory yet coming in from Murder, so this mass Marine army is not going to get healed by any medevacs anytime soon. We definitely need medevacs. We definitely need a starport up and running, and without that, those Marines are just going to get constantly surrounded, as level 1 weapons upgrade now being started.
Yeah, he just added the gas, and now he's going to be adding that factory, and now adding those tech labs as well. I imagine he's going to be getting both combat shield and stim at the same time, trying to beef up those Marines a little bit. But he went without gas for so long, almost 7-8 minutes there. Got up 3 orbital commands before he even started any gas, now adding a 3rd and 4th gas as well, and gets up at the engineering bay, lowers that wall to let out a few Marines. Looks like he will be pushing across the field here, perhaps just to clean up the Zerglings. Bong Bong losing control of the Zerglings a little bit, losing about half of those. And 26 Zerglings on the way for Bong Bong, as well as Lair Tech. I imagine he's going to be going for some sort of Baneling and Muta play, as the Baneling nest does go up. And Murder pushing out once again, going to test the waters, trying to clear off that tower. We're going to have a little bit of a Zergling run by here, going to be taking back that tower, but now going to be going for the gold here is Murder, trying to put some pressure on the Zerg player.
Yeah, so Murder now pushing in. That queen may get taken down rather quickly. 1 queen already down. Drones may get taken down as the drones are now trying to run away. Doesn't look like the drones are even doing anything at all. So Zerglings now swarming in from behind. Will be able to pick off 1 group of those Marines. Will be coming around for the other, but I believe 16 workers already killed, as the Marines are holding their line as best as they can, even without combat shield, even without stim, able to deal a lot of economic damage.
Yeah, Murder actually splitting up those Marines to the right and the left, and the left side Marines went for the workers instead of defending their brethren on the right, so you know that Murder really wanted to put a big gash in the economy of Bong Bong, but now we have the Banelings up for Bong Bong. We're going to have level 1 attacks about to finish. So we got the Baneling nest up a little bit late to be able to defend against that push from Murder, but now he's going to be able to counter here with some sort of Baneling bust on this wall. Again, there's a supply depot there, so not too many Banelings. I think just 5 to take down that supply depot, and he can be right in the base of Murder.
Yeah, 5 Banelings. I think it is 5 Banelings, maybe even 4 with a couple Zerglin attacks. There's 1 supply depot, and that is it. That is going to be holding off that position there. The Banelings are already lining themselves. Siege tech not quite done, as the Zerglings and now trying to swarm in. And the Banelings, I guess, not seeing the low point here. There is 1 siege tank. The siege tech about to be completed. And we all know how much damage a siege tank does against or to those banelings, able to detonate them very, very easily. And it's just going to become a matter of timing. It's only 5 more seconds. Can that siege tank siege up in time? Or no, he's going to move out and perhaps just get completely sideswiped as the Marines are now trying to separate. Are they going to be able to separate in time? It looks like the banelings and completely cleaning up that army. Wow, brilliantly done by Murder, and now it looks like it's going to be another strong counterattack as Murder has almost a 2,000 resource army compared to just 225, but we do see 32 Zerglings and 8 more Banelings now being hatched up.
Yeah, I was a little bit apprehensive there about pushing out, but Baneling speed had not yet finished, so Murder was able to get a nice split there and really prevent a lot of damage to be done, and he's going to have to split once again as Zerglings and Banelings on the defense for Bongbong. Looks like the Zergling's going to try to push in here and get a surround, but being repelled once again. Murder pulling back very smartly off this creep here. He got a scan, cleared off a few of those tumors, and it looks like Bongbong getting up at 4th base. He has yet to choose a Lair Tech, I believe.
Yeah, I believe there was a Spire up. Yes, there is a Spire. Level 1 weapons upgrade now being started as well. So we could be getting Mutalisks. There are 2 medevacs in the air accompanying this siege tank as well. But is it going to be enough as the Marines quickly sim? The Marines now have to battle against rolling Banelings as the movement speed upgrade has been completed. Only 1 siege tank in the backfield as many more Banelings now being hatched. 21 Banelings. And this mass Marine army, its days are looking numbered.
Yeah, and right now it is 77 Harvesters to 83, so both players with a huge economy at this point, getting very early 3rd bases. Now stimming in here with these Marines, going to try to pick off a number of units, bait them into the tank, but again, as you mentioned, just 1 tank in siege mode, a 2nd one on the way, and sieging up shortly here, I imagine. Not a lot of medevacs, they're very low on energy, as all those Marines had stimmed up quite a bit, and Murder just pushing in here, trying to get a bit of a siege on the Zerg base.
Yeah, the Marines are now attempting to run away. It looks like those Banelings, they need to get folks fired by those siege tanks, otherwise the siege tank may take a large amount of damage there, yes, and a lot of the Marines, it is going to be another army trade here, and I think that Bongbong actually came out as slightly ahead. Taking a look at the army count, both sides are fairly even, but we are now transitioning into 34 more Zerglings and some Mutalisks in the sky.
Yeah, it was a good trade for Bongbong. He is able to take down the Marine numbers, and with the Mutalisks coming out, Murder might have difficulty defending against those, but he does have up a number of missile turrets around the sides of his base, and now he will be dropping into the back of Bongbong's base. Bongbong has good Overlord sight here between the 2 bases, so he's going to be able to see this. If he can get Mutas into position, perhaps to pick this off. He does not have Zerglings rallying to his base yet, so he has not yet spotted this drop.
Yeah, no drop yet coming in, but the Mutalisks are going to be able to come in and get a lot of damage. I don't see any... Oh, there are 2 missile turrets, 3 missile turrets here, so they'll be able to clean it up. But in come the Marines. The Marines getting some worker damage, but they really need to go after that key tech. The spawning pool, the Baneling's Nest, all are very, very low hit point buildings as the Marines are now trying to fight off against the Zerglings. The Marines are upgraded 2-1, so that is going to help against those 2-0 Banelings, and unable to pick up any of the units in time as now the Mutalisks are going after the armory, just trying to attack in between the buildings.
Yeah, we have Murder pumping out 8 Marines at a time, trying to defend against these Mutalisks, but again, just so many Mutalisks. He got him out a little bit late, but there are 12 up at this point. He does not want to lose any, and Murder getting up on this gold base as well, throwing down a number of bunkers and missile turrets. He's going to try to secure this gold expansion. He's going to have 4 orbital commands, so interesting, he does not go for the planetary fortress on that gold. So he's going to be able to drop 4 mules at a time on that gold in short order here and really start adding a lot of Marines to his army. I imagine he needs to get up a number of supply depots and more barracks as well to handle this excess economy he's going to have in a moment.
Yeah, the destructible rocks now being taken out the back door as the Mutalisks are once again trying to put pressure on the front or along in between the chasm here. 1 missile turret already down. There goes a second one as the Mutalisks are going to be able to have their way inside this base in just a moment. Going after the reactor first. I believe the reactor will just simply burn to a crisp as the Zerglings are going to be able to clear out the back door rocks and perhaps put some pressure now with a run by as soon as those Mutalisks do back off.
Yeah, and this is just an insane economy for Murder. He's got 104 workers, and again, as we mentioned, dropped so many mules. He's got 6 of them right now on the gold. He's bringing in over 4,000 minerals per minute, so he really needs to get supply depots up. He really needs to get up a lot of racks, and start adding to his macro capabilities here, his production capabilities, and just start pumping out a ton of units, getting in some good trades with the Zerg player, and start hurting the economy of the Zerg. Again, 104 to 76 workers at this point, as we do see Zerglings running into the third of Murder.
Yeah, the Zerglings are going to be able to just poke apart on these SCVs. SCVs now finally trying to fight back. The Zerglings do have weapons upgrades, but SCVs do have armor upgrades, as the Mutal is now putting pressure in at the planetary fortress as it's trying to be upgraded. Mass missile turrets were trying to be built, but just absolutely destroyed by those Mutalists. Those Mutalists are, I believe, upgraded 1-0 with 2-0 upgrades now being started. The planetary fortress not going to get canceled in time, and the Marines are going to try to come over, but unable to catch up at all.
Yeah, Murder's going to have to get up some missile turrets before he will be able to expand there, as the Mutas are just so very mobile at this point. And again, Murder, keeping up with the economic cheese, keeps adding more and more command centers, adding more and more racks to add Marines here. So we'll see at some point it's going to come down to a micro battle, trying to fend off the Mutalisks and using Banelings to take down the Marines. And we see a counter here into the third of Murder once again.
Yeah, so Zerglings just once again chasing after all of these SCVs. SCVs attempting to run away, but unable to really do so, as the Zerglings are going to be able to clean this up. Marines are now finally heading back over. Medivacs also giving in a bit of a support, trying to heal those Marines. Going to do a good job there, as now we can see Bong Bong sitting on about 20 or 18 Mutalists over here on the corner, as he also is expanding to the natural expansion at the 11 o'clock location and the 12 o'clock location here on Shadow Temple. A crazy game with a lot of workers and a lot of just army trading so far. Both sides sitting on about 5,000 mineral army, but we do have Bong Bong with a significantly larger gas army.
Yeah, and Bong Bong actually down to 68 Harvesters. Pretty low, I'd imagine, for a Zerg player at this stage of the game, and he's doing a bit of a tech switch. He's getting out Infestors and going up to Hive tech. So now that he's forced so many Marines and the Murder is gone for a lot of Marines here, he's going to get out those Infestors, as we see Murder pushing out here with a very strong push. We'll see whether those Infestors, they did not have pathogen glands as they came out, so they will not have fungal growth right away. We'll see how much damage Murder's able to do.
Yeah, both sides are now doing a major base trade. As we can see, the missile turrets are quickly falling at the gold. Meanwhile, a major push inside the base of Bong Bong, losing a lot of his tech buildings. If he can take down the spawning pool and the spire, that may be enough in order to just slow down any of the additional production that Bong Bong wants to go for, as those buildings do take quite a time to rebuild. But the Zerglings are still running rampant through the base. Both sides, Mutalists at the gold expansion, Zerglings at the natural expansion, as it looks like the Hive tech will be falling in just a moment, and down goes the spire as well. So I don't know who has the advantage at this stage.
Yeah, right before that Hive went down, Bong Bong did throw up another infestation pit, another spawning pool, and a spire as well. So in about 100 game seconds, he's going to be able to create everything once again. So Murder really needs to take this opportunity to push in, take down that natural, perhaps get a third as well. He's cleaned up his natural best that he can. He does have a Thor up, and he's adding some missile turrets as well with these Marines to try to fend off these Mutalisks. That's all that is left right now for Bong Bong across the map. He does have a number of Infestors with a decent amount of energy, as well as Lings and Banelings in his natural, hoping to catch the units of Murder in a good position and take out this attacking force.
Yeah, if you take a look at the sheer army sizes, you would normally say that Murder just has a straight up advantage, but it's also the unit combinations with these Infestors, with these Banelings. As you mentioned, those Banelings can easily just melt through this Marine army. So it's all going to be about positioning and all about micro, and who's going to be able to capitalize on their attacks the best. We do have the Infestors currently with burrows, so they are going to be able to burrow underneath these siege tanks if they need to. I don't see any Ravens in the air, but we are also getting the Terran building armor, so that's going to be interesting. A research that I rarely ever see. Auto-sec tracking also research on those missile turrets, so +1 range on the missile turrets and an additional +2 armor. So that may also come into play, perhaps shooting down a couple additional Mutalisks as well.
And Murder's macroing slipping again, as he's supply blocked for quite a while here. He's got a bunch of units queued up. He's sitting at 145 with the Zerg player at 181. He really needs to get on his horse, spend some of these minerals. He's worked so hard to establish the economy. Even though it has been taken out quite a bit, he still has a decent number of minerals, as we see him pushing across the middle of the field here, trying to take down some creep and just kind of feeling out Bong Bong's gold and his position here.
Yeah, I think I think things are starting to go Bong Bong's way now with just the Mutalisk being able to be everywhere at once. There's not much of an economy coming in from Murder. He's doing some long distance mining, trying to reestablish this. There are a lot of missile turrets up though, so those missile turrets are picking off many of those Mutalisks, and that may actually be a saving grace, but there are 2 Banelings set up for a Baneling landmine, and that may be an issue if Murder does not notice them in time, and he may lose or end up losing a lot of those Marines if he tries to establish and move them across. No, they are not going to step on top of it and going to be able to finish off that Overlord that is generating creep as well.
Looks like Bong Bong trying to bait some of those Marines over those Banelings, and we're going to see him almost in position there. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. Now they could get a... No, Bong Bong missing out on the Banelings there, as Murder was in perfect position to lose a lot of Marines, and now Murder needs to try to take this half of the map. The Zerg player's already taken his half, so Murder needs to get up some missile turrets and try to protect these bases as he does take them, split this up, get back to 200-200, and get in some good trades once again with Bong Bong.
Yeah, Murder is also getting up a planetary fortress here at the natural expansion at the 3 o'clock location, but the infestors are now pushing in. The infestors are going to get some neuroparasite and then turning the tides on those siege tanks. Both sides are just exchanging such large armies, and so many infestors are simply falling. Banelings, infest, fungal growth, so much happening on the screen. I'm getting about 1 frame a second, but wow, just both sides exchanging. I think Murder had his siege tanks deep enough to actually now perhaps go for a counter push.
Yeah, so many fungals went off on those Marines, though. They were able to take them down just down to 24 Marines, and that's just a few Banelings there could take those down. As we see a number of burrowed Banelings all around the field, a scan coming in, and now Murder's going to be forced to siege up off the creep here to try to take down some of these spine crawlers. Marines cannot take those on alone, so being forced to try to get into a position here, perhaps a little bit farther from the Zerg base than he would have liked. You want to get kind of as deep as you can, really get a cut in between the 2 production, the left and the right side of the Zerg base. As you see Murder pushing in here with those Thors, and not quite sure what's on the way for Bong Bong. He's got that Greater Spire, but that might be a little bit too late to stop this push.
Yeah, the siege tanks are getting slowed down just a little bit by those spine crawlers, but it looks like the Marines and the siege tanks have finally cleared them all up. Infestors make off another fungal growth. Nicely done, and now the Thors are going to be able to just continue to push through, getting in a lot of damage across the board, as all of those infestors are now essentially out of energy and completely worthless. Greater Spire about to be done, and that could be a lot of Broodlords, and that is going to be a problem, as I don't see that many Vikings right now. Greater Spire is now done with 12 more Corruptors, and now being finished.
Yeah, it's going to be 17 total Corruptors, but he is supply blocked, so Murder needs to do damage now. He needs to keep taking down Overlords. 13 Overlords on the way. Bong Bong has a ton of minerals and gas to soak into the Broodlords once he can get them up. 3 Broodlords on the way, so Murder really needs to push in here before those Broodlords come up, as now the Vikings taking on those Corruptors. The Corruptors will get the best of that battle, though. Just so many of them on the field, and again, Murder needs to do the damage now before these Broodlords do come out.
Yeah, I believe 8 Broodlords already coming out, 7 additional Corruptors, a lot more Infestors as well. We are going to have 3/3 upgrades on those Broodlings, as the Infestors do not have enough energy, are going to quickly burrow, and then perhaps live and fight and get off another fungal growth, which would be very, very deadly as well, as Murder is now just carving his way through the base of Bong Bong. And now, though, you can see that the Broodlords are trying to turn around. Overlords getting shot down. Broodlords are upgraded 2-0, dealing 24 damage in attack. And I believe, yes, the siege tank going to get absolutely destroyed in just a moment.
And we got Banelings on the way with these Zerglings to try to take on these Marines, and as long as Murder stays active and moves around here, he might be able to stay ahead of these Broodlords. Again, Broodlords very slow, and it looks like Bong Bong going to be pulling back these Broodlords, going to try to protect this northwestern position here as Murder takes down that natural, and Bong Bong down onto 3 mining bases. Murder has got up his rightmost base as well. He's added on a starport, and he needs to come out with Vikings in mass here. Now pushing forward, but we do have Infestors here. They will be able to get off a fungal growth on the medevacs and the Marines. A lot of Marines going down. It is just tanks and Thors now trying to take on these Broodlords. A few of the Broodlords will go down. Some Marines coming from behind as well. No more fungal growths as the Marines are stimming up. Going to try to focus down these Broodlords. There are 4 Broodlords left here, taking on all comers, but just not enough Marines. The Thors cannot take on those armored Broodlords, and Murder has to go home.
Oh my goodness, so Bongbong just saving it up until the very, very last point at this time. Now, he doesn't have that many harvesters, only 47 now, but so many mineral patches have been mined out. Only the 2 o'clock starting location hasn't seen a building at all, as we are going to see a 7 hit point Thor able to return all the way home and write letters about how he saw the bloody battle here on Shattered Temple.
Yes, Sergeant Thor there with 13 kills, and again, Murder has gotten up 3/3 upgrades on these Thors, so they're not going to do too much damage against Broodlords, but they're going to do their best. And now the Broodlords and the Corruptors moving across the field. This is pretty much all that Bongbong has, though. He's coming out some Infestors and doesn't have too many Lings on the field, just 6 and 5 Banelings at the moment. So if Murder can get a tech switch up, if he can get Vikings up and take down these Corruptors and these Broodlords, he could push in here and do very well with the tanks and the Thors that he does have.
Yeah, what I would like to see right now coming in from Murder would perhaps be a drop over here at the 1 o'clock location. You can see that Bongbong purposely, or knowing that the Thors are upgraded 3-0, has stopped producing any Mutalisks, as Thors are able to shut them down in 2 shots. So it means that drops are now really, really strong on this matchup if he can actually move into that 12 o'clock location with those medevacs and those Marines. Broodlords now once again pushing their way in, able to take down so many of those siege tanks. Marines are now trying to push in as well, and it looks as though the Vikings are one Viking trying to hold the line against so many Corruptors. Things are not looking good, as so much splash damage is being dealt against all of these siege tanks here.
A lot more Vikings coming in, though, and they will be able to win back the air battle, so air dominance going to Murder, and he will be able to start focusing down these Broodlords. The Infestors going to do their best to fungal growth these Vikings, but the Vikings going to take a few more fungals to go down, and now Bongbong has to retreat as these Broodlords no longer safe. We see a few Corruptors on the way, 6 of them, but as long as Murder is able to keep ahead of the production in the air, he's got to keep getting Marines as well, pumping out 9 at a time, 3 Thors at a time, and 4 Vikings at a time. Murder's economy, Murder's macro doing very well at this point. He might be able to hold this here against Bongbong.
Yeah, this is a crazy battle. We can see Murder already getting an orbital command at the 3 o'clock location, so his economy is now only slightly behind. I'm not quite sure how it is behind. Perhaps he's oversaturated at a location or two, as both players are very low on harvesters, and at this stage low on harvesters, 64 compared to 57. We do have 4 mules though, but it somehow seems that Murderers should be mining more minerals. Perhaps there's a lot of idle SCVs, and I don't see any, as the Broodlords quickly getting torn apart by those Vikings.
Wow, a nice fungal going down, getting a number of Vikings there. He does have SCVs underneath, repairing best that he can. Another fungal going down on those Marines, but there are just a lot of Vikings out. One more fungal can take down most of those Vikings, though. They are in the red, so Bongbong has to do a good job here with those the fungal growths. Right now, he is losing the air battle for dominance. It is 2 Broodlords and 4 Corruptors against the 13 Vikings, as we see small groups for Murder of Marines pushing in here, trying to focus down the 1 Broodlord here, a Queen on the way as well, a number of them, and this might be kind of a last stand for Bongbong. Almost mined out in a few of his bases here, and he is just trying to keep this middle position, trying to keep creep spread here as well. Still has a few more burrowed Banelings.
Yeah, Murder, realizing how important every mineral is on Shattered Temple, has moved over to the starting location of Bongbong at the 9 o'clock, and we will be landing that there. Vikings are once again into a push. We see that the Queens have a very decent range of 7, and also the ability to transfuse Corruptors cannot be neglected, as they're going to be able to absorb a lot more damage. All of those Queens have so much energy, and if we do see a lot of transfusions back to back to back, perhaps we will see all of these Broodlords just stay alive long enough to wear down all of these Vikings.
Yeah, I think Murder needs to push out here at some point. The Zerg is really in a vulnerable position right now. Just 1 Broodlord on the field, 2 coming in here, and it looks like the 1 Broodlord might be focused down by these Thors. Getting a transfuse there from the Queen, now running in here with all these Zerglings. Some nice fungal growths going down on the Thors and Vikings. Another one going down on a group of Marines there. The Marines will die without medevac support. A ton of Vikings here, though, will be able to take down all these Broodlords, and now it's just Queens and Infestors trying to get more fungals off, and they need 1 more fungal to finish off the majority of these Vikings once again.
Yeah, a little bit of an unluck there. Those siege tanks and those Thors were able to take down multiple Infestors time and time again, as now the Vikings are now all in the red. They do have level 1 weapons upgrade finally in order to just own this air battle, but this is a crazy matchup, folks. We are now sitting on 1,500 minerals versus 1,300 income on both of these players, as now the armies are slowly making their way out. Murder does have SCVs on auto repair. Those SCVs working so hard for getting the drop off those canisters of gas, but it looks like this push may not be stopped.
Oh, and a lot of Vikings going down there with that fungal, and once again, infestors coming up, and he's going to be able to be very effective with these infestors, at least cost effective, getting off some good fungals, but now getting in here, the siege tanks will be getting a very strong position, might be focusing down the spawning pool, and Bong Bong is in huge trouble.
Yeah, Bong Bong doesn't have really anywhere to go. He needs to hold on to the space. He lost his infestation pit. He lost his spawning pool. No Zerglings, no more Banelings, unless the Zerglings are already in the field, and also no more infestors, and that's really what he's been using to hold off this attack. And I think as Murder has those 3-0 upgraded Thors, and the siege tanks are just 3-0, this mass Terran mech play here on Shatter Temple may be a bit too much, as Spine Crawlers and this last base may fall.
Wow, 150 to 38, GG from Bong Bong, and Murder has done it, taking a game off of Bong Bong and putting vVv up 1-0 in the Clan War Wednesday Night StarCraft against Prime Clan.
Yeah, so stay tuned for Game 2 to figure out who Murder will be challenging. There's still 3 great players from Prime. I believe a Zerg. No, I believe the Zerg was taken to a Protoss, a Terran, and I'm not quite sure who they doubled up on, but I hope all the games are as exciting as this.